Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you work, life still feels heavy, noisy, and confusing? Like you're constantly chasing something, money, recognition, or approval, but nothing really gives you freedom. This video is different. It's about learning how to earn smart, stay quiet, and live free in a way most people never understand. It's about protecting your energy, making choices that truly matter, and building habits that push your life forward without anyone noticing. Most people waste years reacting to distractions, following trends, or trying to impress others. You're about to learn how to flip that. Every idea in this guide will show you how to make your money work, control your focus, learn from mistakes, and take actions that grow your independence quietly. You'll discover how freedom isn't about showing off, it's about having control, clarity, and peace of mind every single day. Watch this video closely, because by the end you'll know exactly how to take real control of your life, earn smarter, and live completely on your own terms. Chapter: Focus daily on actions that grow your money quietly. Earning money is not about luck, it is about consistent actions. Every single day, the decisions you make either push you toward financial freedom or hold you back. Most people waste their energy on loud gestures, on showing off, on chasing approval from others. That noise consumes your time, your focus, and your energy. The people who grow wealth quietly understand something very simple. They act. They focus on what matters, they cut out the distraction, and they make their money work for them without needing to announce it to the world. Every dollar you earn has potential. Every moment you spend working on your skills, on improving your understanding, and on making smarter choices, compounds over time. But this only happens if you focus, if you direct your attention, and if you stay disciplined in your actions. Focus is not an abstract concept. It is a practical habit. It is deciding what is important and saying no to everything else. It is waking up each morning with a plan and refusing to let anything unimportant steal your attention. People who struggle with money often jump from idea to idea, from trend to trend. They look for shortcuts and instant results. Quiet earners do not operate like this. They understand that wealth is built in the background, one deliberate action at a time. Every task you do with intention matters. Every time you take the time to understand your finances, to improve your skill set, to solve a problem, you are adding value to your life and your future. Think about it. If you spend 1 hour every day learning something new that directly improves your ability to earn or manage money, by the end of a year, you will have spent over 350 hours intentionally improving your life. That is almost 9 full weeks of focused growth. Now most people waste that time scrolling, complaining, or engaging in unnecessary conversation. The quiet earner uses that hour wisely. The quiet earner understands that talking about success does nothing. Planning about success does nothing. Only action produces results. And not just any action, deliberate action produces results. Financial growth requires smart decisions. This does not mean making big, risky gambles. It means knowing the value of your money, understanding the opportunities available, and taking steps that bring steady return. When you focus daily on growing your money, you learn to distinguish between what is a distraction and what is essential. You learn to separate noise from opportunity. You learn to value your time more than you value recognition from others. People who talk loudly about wealth often spend more energy maintaining appearances than actually creating value. Quiet earners understand that the work is more important than the applause. They understand that long-term wealth is the result of countless small, smart actions performed consistently over time. The psychology behind quiet earning is simple but powerful. The brain responds to habits, not to speeches. Talking about goals creates temporary excitement, but it does not change results. Acting every day toward those goals changes your brain, your confidence, and your reality. Small wins compound. Paying attention to small, smart decisions each day transforms ordinary people into financially independent individuals. Choosing to spend less than you earn, investing in learning, finding ways to generate additional income streams, avoiding impulsive purchases, and protecting your focus are all actions that quietly grow your wealth. Daily focus requires discipline. It is easy to get distracted by immediate gratification, by social media, by the expectations of others. Discipline is the bridge between intention and results. Quiet earners train themselves to prioritize. They ask, will this choice bring me closer to my financial freedom or further away? If it doesn't move the needle, they skip it. They remove unnecessary commitments, reduce the noise around them, and protect the space needed to focus on growth. Every minute you spend doing the right things intentionally grows your life and your wealth. Every minute you waste on distractions steals from your future. Let's talk about the emotional side of this. Money is not just numbers, it represents freedom, security, and choices. The stress of financial uncertainty weighs heavily on the mind and body. It creates anxiety, affects relationships, and limits opportunities. When you focus daily on growing your money, you take control of that stress. You shift from feeling reactive to feeling proactive. You stop being at the mercy of circumstance. Each small action adds to your confidence. Each disciplined choice brings peace of mind. Quiet earners experience this calm confidence because they know they are building a foundation that others cannot shake. Now consider this. Most people spend years working without understanding the impact of their daily action. They earn, they spend, they complain, and they repeat the cycle. Quiet earners understand the power of small, consistent steps. They focus on reducing unnecessary expenses, increasing skills that generate higher income, and investing in opportunities that compound over time. The difference is not luck. The difference is deliberate action. Focused action, every single day, no matter how small, adds to your long-term success. Practical steps for daily focus start with clarity. You need to know exactly what you are trying to achieve. If your goal is financial freedom, define what that looks like. How much do you need to earn to live without worry? How much must you save or invest each month to reach that point? When your target is clear, your decisions become simpler. You can quickly decide what matters and what does not. You spend your energy only on things that move you closer to your goal. You ignore the rest. This is the first principle of quiet earning. Clarity leads to focus, and focus leads to results. The second step is structure. Set aside time every day to take action on your finances. It could be tracking expenses, reviewing investments, learning new skills, or working on side projects. Whatever it is, dedicate specific time to it daily. Repetition is key. Doing it once has little impact. Doing it consistently compounds. The brain begins to accept this as habit. What once felt like effort becomes natural. This is how ordinary people become financially independent, quietly and steadily. The third step is patience. Quiet earners understand that wealth grows slowly at first. The results are not always visible immediately, but the impact is real. Compounding works silently. Your knowledge grows, your habits strengthen, your investments mature, and over time they create results far beyond what you imagined. Impatience is the enemy of quiet earning. It leads to rash decisions, impulsive spending, and unnecessary risk. Patience combined with focus produces consistent growth that cannot be matched by luck or flashy gestures. Another key point is control. You cannot always control income opportunities, but you can control your actions, your habits, and your decisions. Controlling what you can control allows you to act without anxiety and with confidence. Quiet earners make fewer mistakes, Because they think before they act, they avoid the temptation of get-rich-quick schemes, they avoid debt traps, and they avoid decisions driven by emotion. They make choices from a position of calm power and rational thought. Every dollar earned quietly grows stronger because it is earned with intention, not luck. There is also a social element. People will often question why you do not talk about money, why you do not show off. They may pressure you to flaunt wealth or chase status. Quiet earners ignore the noise. They understand that external validation is temporary and irrelevant. Their satisfaction comes from progress, from knowing they are taking the right steps, from watching small wins turn into long-term stability. This is an important lesson. Success does not require applause. Real wealth does not need attention. It grows quietly, steadily, and powerfully behind the scenes. Emotional intelligence is also part of this daily focus. Recognize the emotions that influence your decision. Desire, fear, pride, and envy all can lead to poor choices. Quiet earners acknowledge these emotions, but do not act impulsively. They respond instead of reacting. They plan instead of panic. They stay focused on their objectives, regardless of temporary feelings or external pressure. This emotional discipline amplifies their ability to grow money quietly and consistently. Another aspect is learning from mistakes. Every error is a lesson if you pay attention. Quiet earners do not dwell on failure. They analyze, adjust, and keep moving forward. Each misstep becomes a stepping stone, each correction a building block. This mindset transforms ordinary action into smart action, ensuring that every effort contributes to long-term results. Learning and growth become part of the daily routine, silently compounding alongside financial gain. Finally, gratitude enhances focus. Appreciating what you have, understanding the value of each dollar, and recognizing the opportunities available strengthens your discipline. When you are grateful, you are less likely to waste resources, more likely to invest wisely, and more willing to stay patient and consistent. Gratitude aligns your emotions with your actions, making the work of quiet earning not just productive, but satisfying and fulfilling. Earning smartly, quietly, and consistently transforms your life in profound ways. It builds independence, security, confidence, and peace of mind. It allows you to make choices without stress, to take risks with calculated assurance, and to live life on your terms. Every day spent focusing on actions that grow your money quietly is a day invested in freedom. Every small decision matters. Every deliberate action compounds, and over time these daily choices create a life that many only dream of, but few achieve. Quiet earning is not glamorous. It does not attract attention. It is not flashy. But it works. It works silently, steadily, and powerfully. And when done consistently, it frees your time, protects your energy, and gives you control over your future. You cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. You cannot force wealth to appear, but you can take daily steps that make it inevitable. You cannot demand recognition, but you can earn independence, respect, and peace of mind quietly and steadily. Focus daily on actions that grow your money quietly. Make intentional choices. Track your progress. Learn from mistakes. Invest in knowledge. Control impulses. Protect time. Avoid unnecessary noise. Stay patient. Be disciplined. Keep moving forward. These are the steps that build real wealth. Not luck, not hype, not shortcut. Only consistent, smart, deliberate action produces freedom. This approach is not for everyone. Many will chase attention, instant results, and applause. You will succeed quietly while others distract themselves with noise. The satisfaction comes from results, not recognition. The confidence comes from knowing you are building something meaningful. The freedom comes from creating a life that cannot be shaken by circumstance, opinion, or chaos. Focus daily, grow quietly, live freely. Chapter 2. Observe more and speak less to protect your energy. Most people underestimate the power of silence. They believe that being heard is the same as being understood. They speak to fill space, to prove a point, to show presence, and in doing so, they drain themselves. Energy is not infinite. Every word you speak carries weight. Every conversation you engage in costs something, and every unnecessary discussion takes away from the focus and clarity needed to move forward in life. Observing more and speaking less is not about withdrawal, it is about choice. It is about protecting the energy that fuels your productivity, your creativity, and your personal growth. Energy is a resource that everyone spends, but few protect. When you constantly respond to the noise around you, you give away your focus. You allow other people's moods, distractions, and drama to dictate your state of mind. Silence does not mean weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is strength. It allows you to assess situations clearly, make better decisions, and conserve the mental and emotional resources required to achieve meaningful results. People who protect their energy understand that every conversation, every reaction, and every moment of engagement has a cost, and they are careful to spend it wisely. Observing more requires awareness. It means paying attention to details that others miss. It means listening without the immediate urge to respond. It means noticing patterns, behaviors, and opportunities that can influence your growth. When you observe first, you understand more. You see the dynamics of relationships, the intentions behind actions, and the subtle clues that guide better choices. Speaking less gives you space to process this information, to analyze it, and to act when it truly matters. Too often, people speak before thinking, and they miss the insights that could have changed everything. Your environment has a profound impact on your energy. The people around you, the conversations you engage in, and the emotional climate you immerse yourself in, all influence how much mental and emotional bandwidth you have. Every interaction is a potential drain. Gossip, complaints, unnecessary arguments, and distractions consume focus and reduce clarity. Observing rather than reacting allows you to remain calm and composed. You maintain your mental space while others exhaust themselves. This is how high-achieving people operate. They do not engage in every conversation. They choose where and when to contribute. They prioritize interactions that have value and avoid energy leaks wherever possible. Protecting your energy is also about boundaries. Saying less is not about ignoring people. It is about selectively engaging in conversations that matter. It is about creating mental space for strategic thinking, personal growth, and meaningful action. Boundaries are invisible shields that preserve focus and strength. Without them, it is easy to be pulled into chaos, drawn into unnecessary drama, and caught in the emotional storms of others. Observing gives you insight into who respects your time, who adds value to your life, and who detracts from it. Speaking less reinforces these boundaries, signaling that your energy is precious and not to be wasted. Emotionally, silence is liberating. When you stop reacting impulsively, you stop being controlled by external events. You gain the ability to choose your response and preserve emotional balance. This does not mean suppressing feelings, it means managing them. It means deciding what deserves your attention and what does not. The energy you save from speaking unnecessarily or reacting emotionally can be redirected into meaningful work, learning, self-improvement, or rest. Every minute spent in deliberate observation strengthens your mental resilience and sharpens your awareness of opportunities that others overlook. In practical terms, observing more and speaking less is a skill that must be cultivated intentionally. Start with awareness of your own habit. How often do you speak without thinking? How often do you react emotionally before understanding the situation? Begin to notice the moments when silence would serve you better than words. Pause before responding. Ask yourself whether your contribution adds value or drains energy. This habit, practiced consistently, rewires your thinking. It allows you to approach situations with clarity rather than urgency. Observing more also sharpens social intelligence. When you listen deeply, you understand people better. You notice their motivations, their intentions, and their emotional states. This awareness allows you to respond strategically rather than reactively. People who talk too much often miss subtle cues and misinterpret intention. They engage without comprehension and make choices that cost them energy or opportunity. Observing first allows you to act with precision. It turns interactions into information, giving you leverage without conflict. You gain influence not by speaking loudly, but by understanding profoundly. Silence also cultivates patience. When you stop trying to immediately insert your voice into every discussion, you allow time for situations to develop. Clarity often comes in the waiting, in the observation, and in the moments of reflection. Acting too quickly or speaking too much can lead to regret. Observing more gives you perspective. It allows you to identify patterns, recognize risk, and choose the best course of action. The people who succeed quietly often do so because they understand that results are the product of strategic patience, not constant activity or chatter. Your energy is also linked to focus. Every word spoken unnecessarily takes focus away from what matters most. The projects, the relationships, the personal growth efforts that build a better life require mental bandwidth. If your attention is constantly fragmented by conversations that do not serve you, your energy is diluted. Observing more and speaking less concentrates focus. It allows you to think deeply, plan strategically, and execute effectively. Every successful person you admire has mastered this skill, whether consciously or unconsciously. They prioritize internal clarity over external noise, and as a result, they achieve results that others cannot comprehend. Psychologically, speaking less also reduces conflict. Many arguments begin because people react before thinking. Words are powerful, and they can create tension or misunderstanding. Observing before speaking allows you to understand the context, recognize emotional triggers, and choose responses that de-escalate rather than escalate situations. It is not about avoiding challenges or difficulties. It is about addressing them with wisdom and composure. The energy saved by avoiding unnecessary confrontation can be redirected toward creating value in your life and in the lives of those who matter most. The benefits extend to relationships as well. People who listen more are often valued. They are trusted because they demonstrate awareness and understanding. Observing more and speaking less fosters respect. It creates space for others to express themselves fully, while giving you the insight needed to respond thoughtfully. This practice enhances both personal and professional interactions. You gain influence without forcing it. You conserve energy while building stronger connections. You achieve more without unnecessary expenditure of emotional and mental resources. Protecting energy through observation also strengthens self-awareness. When you spend less time talking and more time noticing, you begin to recognize your own patterns, triggers, and habits. You see where your energy is being wasted and where it can be invested for maximum return. This self-awareness leads to better decision-making, improved emotional regulation, and increased resilience. You stop reacting impulsively to minor provocations, and you start responding deliberately to opportunities that truly matter. The combination of observation, patience, and selective engagement becomes a powerful tool for life mastery. The physical sensations of preserving energy are real. You feel lighter, more focused, and more present. Your body is not drained from constant social interaction or emotional turbulence. Your mind is calm, clear, and ready for action. Silence allows your thoughts to settle. Observation allows your senses to become sharper. The energy you conserve manifests as increased productivity, creativity, and confidence. You notice details others miss, recognize opportunities sooner, and respond with impact rather than noise. This is the essence of energy management: quietly, steadily, and effectively. Building this skill requires intentional practice. Begin each day with awareness of your energy. Decide where it will be spent. Choose conversations that matter. Avoid arguments that do not. Listen more than you speak. Pay attention to your environment, your relationships, and your own emotions. Over time, this habit becomes automatic. The natural response is to observe first, speak second. The mental and emotional benefits compound daily, creating a life where your focus, energy, and results are aligned. There is also a financial benefit to observing more and speaking less. Many decisions about spending, investing, and business are influenced by emotion and impulse. Those who observe carefully before acting make smarter financial choices. They avoid unnecessary expenses, recognize profitable opportunities, and maintain clarity in negotiations. Silence allows reflection. Observation allows insight. The combination results in stronger financial decisions, which translates into increased freedom, security, and long-term stability. Emotionally, observing more builds resilience. Life presents challenges, setbacks, and distraction. People who react impulsively often burn out, lose confidence, or create conflict. Observing first gives you space to respond with composure. It allows you to separate what matters from what does not. It enables emotional regulation and prevents unnecessary depletion of mental resources. This resilience strengthens over time, creating a foundation for long-term success in every aspect of life. Mentally, silence sharpens strategy. Observing before speaking or acting gives you time to plan. You notice trends, anticipate reactions, and make calculated moves. You stop chasing temporary satisfaction and start building lasting value. Every decision becomes more intentional. Every action becomes more powerful. Speaking less does not limit you. It multiplies your effectiveness. Observing more allows you to move deliberately, gaining leverage that others miss. Ultimately, the practice of observing more and speaking less is about reclaiming control. Control over your energy, your focus, your emotions, and your outcome. Life will always present noise, distractions, and pressure. You cannot control what others say or do. You can only control your response, your attention, and your energy. Those who master this principle operate at a level of calm power. They achieve more, stress less, and enjoy life with clarity and purpose. Observing more and speaking less is not just a tactic. It is a lifestyle. It protects what matters most. It amplifies your strength. It reduces unnecessary conflict. It enhances relationships. It improves decision-making. It safeguards emotional and mental energy. It creates freedom, peace, and focus. And when applied consistently, it transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones quietly, steadily, and powerfully. The choice is yours. Every day presents opportunities to engage unnecessarily or to observe wisely. Every conversation is a chance to spend energy or conserve it. Every reaction is a chance to drain yourself or to respond deliberately. By choosing to observe more and speak less, you are making a conscious decision to protect your energy, sharpen your mind, and build a life that is focused, intentional, and free from unnecessary stress. The power of silence, the clarity of observation, and the discipline to act selectively create a foundation that few people understand but everyone benefits from. It is not flashy, it is not loud, and it does not seek validation. It works quietly, consistently, and powerfully. Observing more and speaking less is the tool that allows you to operate above noise, above distraction, and above chaos. It allows you to preserve energy for the things that matter, to act with precision,
and to live life with intention. Protect your energy. Notice more, speak less, observe everything, choose wisely, act intentionally, live freely.
Chapter 3. Question every decision before committing to avoid future regret. Every choice we make carries weight. Each decision we take, whether small or large, affects the direction of our lives. Yet, so many people move through life without questioning their actions. They react instantly, follow impulses, or accept what seems convenient in the moment. The result is often regret, frustration, and a sense that life is controlling them instead of the other way around. The difference between people who live empowered lives and those who feel trapped lies in one simple habit: questioning every decision before committing. This is not about overthinking or hesitation. It is about clarity, awareness, and intentional living. When you question a decision, you bring your mind into focus. You pause and consider the consequences, the benefits, and the alignment with your larger goals. Most people fail to do this. They commit to choices without understanding the long-term impact. They make purchases they cannot afford, accept jobs they do not want, and enter relationships without assessing compatibility. Questioning decisions prevents these missteps. It forces you to weigh options thoughtfully, to analyze potential outcomes, and to act with confidence rather than impulse. Questioning every decision begins with awareness of your own tendencies. Notice the times when you act on habit or impulse. Pay attention to the moments when external pressures influence your choice. It might be the desire to impress others, the fear of missing out, or simply the convenience of acting quickly. Once you recognize these patterns, you gain control. You can consciously choose whether a decision serves your long-term objectives or merely satisfies a short-term need. Awareness is the first step in transforming reactive behavior into strategic action. Financial decisions are the clearest examples of this principle. Every dollar you spend or invest is a vote for the life you want to create. Impulse purchases, unplanned commitments, and emotional spending slowly drain resources and limit freedom. Questioning before committing allows you to pause and consider necessity, value, and future impact. Ask yourself, will this expense move me closer to financial independence or further away? The act of questioning is a filter that protects your resources, strengthens discipline, and ensures your choices build toward your goals. The habit of questioning also strengthens personal relationships. Every agreement, commitment, and promise has consequences. When you engage without reflection, misunderstandings and regrets often follow. By pausing to evaluate before committing, you clarify intentions, set realistic expectations, and protect both your energy and the well-being of others. It is not about avoiding responsibility. It is about ensuring that your commitments are meaningful, manageable, and aligned with your values. Decisions made thoughtfully reduce conflict, enhance trust, and build integrity. Emotionally, questioning decisions reduces stress. Life is complicated, and choices have ripple effects. Acting impulsively leads to frustration, anxiety, and regret. When you consistently assess your options, you approach situations with calmness and clarity. You stop feeling reactive and start feeling in control. This emotional stability strengthens confidence, allowing you to navigate challenges more effectively. Questioning before committing transforms uncertainty into intentionality, turning moments of potential stress into opportunities for clarity and focus. Questioning decisions also improves your problem-solving ability. When you examine options critically, you train your mind to anticipate challenges, identify risks, and recognize opportunities that others overlook. This is not about hesitation, it is about strategy. People who act without consideration often encounter setbacks that could have been avoided. By asking the right questions, you foresee obstacles and make informed choices. You increase your ability to adapt, pivot, and respond effectively when circumstances change. Every well-examined decision builds skill, wisdom, and resilience. In practical terms, questioning decisions can be broken down into a process. Start by defining the goal or outcome you are seeking. Understand what you truly want to achieve and why it matters. Next, list possible options and evaluate their consequences. Ask yourself how each option aligns with your priorities, values, and long-term objectives. Consider potential risks and rewards. Then, reflect on how this choice may affect your future self, your relationships, and your resources. Only after this reflection should you commit. This process transforms ordinary decisions into strategic actions that shape your life purposefully. Self-awareness is central to effective questioning. Many people make decisions based on emotion rather than logic. Fear, desire, pride, or convenience often override rational thought. By questioning every choice, you separate emotional impulses from intentional actions. You create a moment of pause that allows insight to surface. You ask yourself, am I acting because I feel compelled, or because this choice serves my long-term purpose? This conscious separation of emotion from action strengthens decision-making and minimizes regret. Questioning every decision also teaches accountability. When you pause to evaluate, you assume responsibility for the consequences of your actions. You no longer blame circumstances, luck, or other people for outcomes. Accountability shifts your mindset from victimhood to empowerment. You recognize that your life is a product of your decisions, and you gain the power to steer it intentionally. Every choice made thoughtfully reinforces confidence, independence, and self-respect. Time management is another area where questioning decisions produces immediate benefit. Every commitment you make consumes time, energy, and focus. Failing to assess these commitments often leaves people overwhelmed and scattered. By questioning before agreeing, you ensure that your time is spent on what truly matters. You protect your most valuable resource, your attention, and direct it toward priorities that build your life rather than deplete it. Strategic decision-making multiplies productivity, reduces burnout, and increases fulfillment. The psychology of future regret is powerful. Human brains are wired to feel discomfort from decisions that lead to negative outcomes. Every misstep, wasted resource, or broken commitment triggers regret. When you consistently question choices before committing, you minimize these moments. You replace impulsivity with intention and uncertainty with confidence. Regret is often a signal that a choice was made without reflection. By questioning first, you remove the opportunity for unnecessary remorse and create a foundation for consistent progress. Critical thinking is cultivated through questioning. Each decision examined trains your mind to identify patterns, evaluate alternatives, and predict outcomes. Over time, this strengthens judgment and insight. Decisions become less reactive and more strategic. You stop falling prey to influence, hype, or pressure from others. You gain independence of thought, clarity of purpose, and the ability to see beyond immediate appearances. This mental sharpening carries benefits across every area of life, from personal growth to financial security and relationships. Questioning decisions also builds confidence. Confidence is not born from acting impulsively. It emerges from consistently making choices that produce positive results. Each well-considered decision reinforces belief in your judgment. You gain trust in your own ability to navigate challenges and achieve goals.
This confidence is steady and unshakable because it is grounded in intentional action rather than chance or reaction. Regret decreases, clarity increases, and personal power grows with every choice made carefully. Life is filled with complexity and uncertainty. Every decision carries some risk, but risk does not mean reckless. Questioning decisions allows you to distinguish between manageable risk and unnecessary exposure. You consider consequences, alternatives, and potential outcomes. You act when the benefit outweighs the cost. You avoid traps that others fall into because they act without thought. This principle protects your energy, resources, and peace of mind, while enabling consistent growth and achievement. Self-reflection is integral to this process. After making a decision, examine the outcome, assess what worked, what did not, and what could be improved. This feedback loop strengthens future decision-making and builds a habit of continuous learning. People who fail to reflect, repeat mistakes, and waste energy. Those who question and analyze grow stronger, wiser, and more capable with every choice. The act of questioning creates a culture of learning, accountability, and personal excellence in your life. Values alignment is critical. Every decision should be evaluated against your core principles. Will this choice support the person you want to become? Will it honor your long-term priorities? Decisions misaligned with values create tension, stress, and regret. Questioning every decision ensures alignment, reinforcing consistency, integrity, and authority. When your choices reflect your values, your life becomes coherent, intentional, and meaningful. Energy is spent building what matters, rather than repairing consequences from misaligned actions. Emotionally, this habit reduces impulsive frustration. Acting without thought often triggers disappointment, anger, or regret. Questioning every decision creates space to manage emotions. Before committing, you respond instead of reacting. You consider consequences and choose actions that protect both your emotional and mental state. Over time, this practice creates resilience, composure, and a calm sense of control over your life. Decisions are made with awareness, not under duress or distraction. The habit of questioning also fosters creativity and innovation. When you pause to examine alternatives, you uncover options others overlook. You see multiple paths to success. You think strategically, rather than following the crowd. Questioning encourages exploration, assessment, and refinement, leading to smarter, more impactful choices. Those who act impulsively often miss opportunities that a simple pause and evaluation would have revealed. Ultimately, the practice of questioning every decision transforms life. You move from reactive to proactive. You reduce regret, conserve energy, and make choices aligned with purpose. You protect your resources, relationships, and reputation. You gain clarity, confidence, and control over outcomes. Every decision, examined thoughtfully, contributes to building a life of freedom, stability, and fulfillment. The habit of questioning is a daily commitment. Begin each morning by preparing mentally for decisions you will face. Pause before committing, assess alignment with goals, evaluate consequences, and reflect on past experiences. This intentional approach trains your mind, safeguards your energy, and ensures that your actions move you forward. Over time, every choice becomes deliberate, every result predictable, and every outcome aligned with the life you desire. Questioning every decision is not hesitation, it is preparation. It is awareness, accountability, and strategy in practice. It is the difference between a life of regret and a life of empowerment. Decisions made intentionally compound into habits. Habits form character, and character determines destiny. Each pause, each question, each evaluation strengthens resilience, sharpens judgment, and enhances life's quality. Commit to this practice. Protect your energy, time and resources. Consider every choice before saying yes. Reflect, analyze and assess alignment with long-term goals. Avoid impulsivity. Make decisions that matter. Build life deliberate. Every question asked before committing strengthens control, reduces regret, and empowers the life you are meant to live. Question every decision. Commit with clarity. Act with purpose. Live intentionally. Protect your future. Avoid regret. Grow stronger with every choice. Build a life that reflects your priorities and values. Every moment of reflection transforms ordinary action into extraordinary outcomes. Each decision examined carefully is a step toward freedom, security, and fulfillment.
Chapter 4. Strengthen habits that quietly push you toward long-term freedom. Freedom is not something that happens overnight. It is the result of consistent choices, repeated actions, and disciplined habits that accumulate quietly over time. Most people look for shortcuts, flashy methods, or sudden breakthroughs. They want instant results, immediate rewards, and external validation. Real freedom, the kind that lasts and gives peace of mind, comes from habits you strengthen daily without needing applause or recognition. These habits are small, sometimes invisible to others, but they compound steadily to create momentum, stability, and long-term independence. The process is simple to understand, but challenging to execute because it requires patience, consistency, and the willingness to prioritize long-term gains over short-term pleasure. The first step is identifying the habits that actually matter. Not all routines are equal. Some habits, like checking notifications repeatedly, complaining or seeking approval, drain energy and distract from progress. Others, like managing time, improving skills, tracking finances, and nurturing health, build momentum and create leverage for future success. To strengthen habits that push toward freedom, you must be selective about where you invest your energy. Every action should either improve your skills, protect your resources, or move you closer to independence. Habits that add value quietly compound in the background, silently building the life most people dream of, but rarely achieve. Consistency is the foundation of these habits. A single act, no matter how significant, does not produce freedom, but repeating that act every day, even in small ways, creates unstoppable results over months and years. This is why small, deliberate actions matter more than sporadic bursts of effort. Making a commitment to consistently take steps that improve your life is far more powerful than waiting for a moment of inspiration. Freedom grows from the accumulation of daily victories, not from occasional leaps. Each time you follow through on a productive habit, you reinforce discipline, increase confidence, and strengthen the mental muscle required to maintain long-term success. Patience is critical when building habits for freedom. The results of good routines are rarely immediate. Learning a skill, saving money, improving health, or creating passive income streams all take time. The key is to trust the process and remain consistent even when results are not immediately visible. Many people abandon their routines at the first sign of slow progress, not realizing that each day invested is a brick in the foundation of their future independence. Habits are investments. Each repetition deposits value into your life bank. Over time, these deposits create interest that compounds quietly into wealth, opportunity, and freedom. Observation plays an important role in habit formation. Notice what actions produce real results and what activities waste time or energy. Study how people who achieve independence organize their lives. Notice their daily routines, their priorities, and their ability to act without distraction. This does not mean copying them blindly, but understanding the principles behind their choices. Habits are most effective when they are aligned with goals and values. Observing, analyzing, and adjusting your routines ensures that every habit you strengthen moves you closer to freedom rather than filling your day with meaningless activity. Accountability strengthens habit. Doing something occasionally is easy, but sticking with it day after day requires motivation, structure, and discipline. Holding yourself accountable or sharing progress with a trusted mentor or friend can reinforce consistency. Accountability is not about pressure from others. It is about creating an environment that supports follow-through. When your habits are tracked, reviewed, and reinforced, they become harder to break and easier to sustain. Over time, this consistency produces mastery, competence, and the ability to achieve long-term goals without needing external validation. Habits that build freedom also require focus. Life constantly presents distractions, temptations, and obligations that compete for attention. Strengthening habits means protecting your mental space, prioritizing what matters, and eliminating low-value actions. Every habit should serve a purpose, whether it is reading to improve knowledge, exercising to maintain health, managing finances to increase independence, or networking to create opportunities. The habit should contribute directly to your long-term objective. Focused repetition of meaningful actions produces results exponentially greater than scattered effort spread across multiple directions. Discipline is reinforced by measuring progress. Small wins accumulate and reinforce the habit loop. Keeping track of results, even subtly, helps maintain momentum and reinforces confidence. For example, recording savings, noting skill improvements, or tracking workout consistency provides feedback that encourages continuation. When results are visible, even in small ways, the mind is motivated to maintain the behavior. Freedom emerges from repeated, measurable progress, not from wishful thinking. Every habit strengthened with awareness and tracking becomes a tool for building independence and confidence. Self-reflection is an essential part of strengthening habits. At the end of each day or week, review the actions you took. Assess which habits served your goals and which need adjustment. Reflection allows you to identify patterns, optimize routines, and eliminate behaviors that undermine progress. Without this step, habits can continue without direction, creating activity without meaningful result. Reflection ensures that effort is always intentional, aligned with values, and directed toward long-term freedom. It transforms ordinary repetition into purposeful, life-shaping action. The psychology behind habit formation is grounded in reward and reinforcement. Human brains are wired to repeat behaviors that provide positive outcomes. By connecting meaningful habits to tangible benefits, you reinforce the behavior. This could be the satisfaction of completing a task, seeing financial growth, improving health, or creating more free time. Every habit that builds toward freedom should include a sense of progress or reward, however small, to maintain motivation. Habits that are invisible but rewarding in the long term become the backbone of personal independence. Energy management is critical when strengthening habits. Habits are easier to maintain when you are physically and mentally capable. Protecting sleep, managing stress, and maintaining health are all habits that support other productive routines. A tired mind or exhausted body cannot consistently take action. Strengthening habits requires supporting systems, energy, focus, and resilience. Every habit that enhances freedom also supports the mind and body, creating a compounding effect that allows growth to continue steadily over time. Breaking old habits is as important as strengthening new ones. Freedom is not just built by adding positive routines, it is reinforced by removing behaviors that drain time, energy, and resources. Procrastination, excessive entertainment, poor spending, and negative self-talk are habits that subtly undermine progress. Replacing these patterns with productive behaviors requires awareness and deliberate action. Every habit that supports independence should replace one that limits it. This process ensures that effort is not diluted by conflicting routines or counterproductive behavior. Consistency in habit formation produces confidence. Each day you follow through reinforces trust in yourself. You begin to rely on your own discipline rather than luck or motivation. This confidence is critical because freedom requires the courage to act independently, make decisions, and navigate challenges without constant guidance or validation. Habits that quietly build freedom produce internal strength that manifests in calm decision-making, resilience, and the ability to take risks when necessary. Long-term freedom is the product of multiple small habits aligned with core priorities. It is not the result of a single action, a sudden opportunity, or external approval. Every habit, whether it is reading, saving, exercising, networking, or planning, serves as a building block. Strengthening these habits means repeating them with focus, measuring progress, protecting energy, and adjusting based on reflection. Over time, these small actions create momentum, allowing life to move in the direction of freedom effortlessly. Patience is reinforced through habit building. Many habits that lead to independence do not produce immediate rewards. Learning skills, building financial stability, and creating opportunities take months and years. Habits provide the structure and discipline needed to persist until results become visible. Each repetition reinforces trust in the process and commitment to long-term objectives. Impatience is the enemy of freedom, but habits create a framework that sustains effort and prevents burnout. Observing your environment enhances habit effectiveness. Habits are influenced by surroundings, social circles, and cultural pressures. Strengthening routines requires creating an environment that supports focus and discourages distraction. This could mean adjusting your schedule, limiting exposure to negativity, or surrounding yourself with individuals who reinforce productive behaviors. Habits that build freedom are supported by an intentional context that allows consistency to flourish. Resilience grows alongside habit. Life is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable. When habits are ingrained, you are less likely to be derailed by setbacks. The consistency of daily routines provides stability and a sense of control. Strong habits allow you to recover quickly from obstacles, maintain focus, and continue moving toward long-term freedom. Habits quietly act as a stabilizing force in the turbulence of daily life, ensuring that progress continues despite external pressure. Accountability enhances the impact of habits. Keeping track of routines, sharing goals with a mentor or peer, and reviewing progress regularly creates external reinforcement. Accountability motivates adherence and provides perspective on areas needing adjustment. It is not about judgment, but about creating structure that supports consistency. Habits strengthened with accountability become powerful tools for building independence, confidence, and self-mastery. Every habit requires alignment with purpose. Habits without direction can create busy work rather than meaningful progress. To strengthen habits that push toward freedom, ensure each action contributes to long-term objectives. Whether it is financial independence, personal growth, or health, every repeated action should have a clear impact. Purposeful habits compound silently but powerfully over time, producing results far beyond what sporadic effort can achieve. The beauty of habits is that they operate quietly. They do not require attention or external validation to be effective. Each repetition is an investment in your future. The more consistently you perform the right routines, the stronger your foundation for freedom becomes. These habits build momentum, confidence, skill, and opportunity. They allow life to unfold with less stress, more control, and greater independence. Strengthened habits are the engine that drives a life of long-term freedom. Ultimately, long-term freedom is achieved by combining awareness, consistency, patience, focus, and alignment in your daily habit. Protect energy, measure progress, adjust routines, eliminate distractions, and commit to repeated action.
Over time, these practices transform ordinary routines into extraordinary outcomes. Each habit quietly pushes you forward, creating leverage that others may never see. The life you desire is a product of the routines you maintain daily, not random luck or sudden inspiration. Strengthen habits that matter. Repeat actions that build value. Protect energy, track progress, reflect and adjust. Eliminate what distracts. Commit to consistency. Be patient. Focus on purpose. Over time, freedom grows quietly, steadily, and powerfully. The habits you cultivate today determine the independence, control, and peace you experience tomorrow. Each repetition shapes destiny. Every consistent action builds leverage. Every day lived intentionally strengthens long-term freedom.
Chapter 5. Learn consistently from failures to turn mistakes into growth. Failure is not the end of the road. It is not a signal that you are weak, incapable, or destined to remain stuck. It is feedback. It is information. Every person who achieves meaningful success has faced failure countless times. Yet what separates those who rise from those who fall is the ability to learn consistently from mistakes and use them as stepping stones for growth. Failure is inevitable, but regret is optional. The moment you embrace the lessons within failure, you turn it into a powerful tool for progress, resilience, and personal transformation. The first step in learning from failure is honesty. It is tempting to blame circumstances, luck, or other people when outcomes fall short. It is human nature to justify mistakes rather than face them. But honesty requires looking squarely at what went wrong and taking full responsibility for your actions. Avoiding accountability prevents growth. Recognizing the role your choices played in the result gives you the power to change future outcomes. The simple act of admitting where you erred opens the door to insight, understanding, and improvement. Observation is crucial when analyzing mistakes. Each failure contains details that can guide better decision-making in the future. Examine your actions, thought patterns, and behaviors leading up to the outcome. Consider external factors, but focus on what you control. By dissecting failure with a clear mind, you gain understanding that cannot be obtained through success alone. Every misstep is a lesson in strategy, judgment, and awareness that, when applied consistently, reduces the likelihood of repeated errors and strengthens your ability to achieve goals. Emotional regulation is key to learning from mistakes. Failure often triggers frustration, disappointment, and self-doubt. These emotions are natural, but they become destructive if allowed to dominate your thinking. Instead of reacting impulsively or giving up, take a step back. Accept the discomfort as part of growth. By managing emotions effectively, you create space for reflection and constructive analysis. Learning from failure requires a calm and focused mind, free from the distractions of anger, fear, or shame. The stronger your ability to regulate emotion, the faster you can extract valuable lessons from setbacks. Consistency in reflection ensures that each mistake contributes to long-term growth. It is not enough to analyze a failure once and move on. Habits of regular review, self-assessment, and adjustment reinforce learning. Create a routine of examining your actions, decisions, and outcomes. Ask what could have been done differently, what warning signs were missed, and how the approach can improve next time. Repetition of this reflective process transforms mistakes into predictable lessons rather than random disappointments. Over time, the mind becomes sharper, judgment becomes stronger, and outcomes improve steadily. Curiosity is an essential companion to learning from failure. Instead of avoiding mistakes, approach them with a mindset of inquiry. Ask questions like, why did this happen? What could I have done differently? How can I prevent this in the future? A curious mind sees failures as experiments rather than personal shortcomings. This approach transforms challenges into opportunities, fear into insight, and setbacks into strategic advantage. Growth emerges naturally when curiosity is combined with honesty and reflection. Actionable insight is the next step after observation. It is not enough to simply understand why a failure occurred. Apply what you learn immediately. Adjust strategies, improve habits, or refine decision-making processes. Every lesson becomes meaningful only when it informs future behavior. The act of implementing insight converts abstract understanding into tangible progress. Mistakes cease to be mere setbacks and instead become stepping stones toward mastery, competence, and long-term achievement. Resilience is cultivated through repeated exposure to failure. Each time you confront a setback and extract lessons, your confidence grows. You begin to trust in your ability to recover, adapt, and continue moving forward. Resilience is not innate, it is developed through practice. Facing challenges, acknowledging errors, and taking corrective action strengthens the mind, reduces fear of risk, and encourages perseverance. The more consistently you learn from mistakes, the stronger your capacity to handle adversity without losing direction or motivation. Perspective is critical in turning failure into growth. Mistakes often feel larger and more personal than they truly are. By stepping back and viewing them in the context of long-term goals, you see them as temporary obstacles rather than permanent limitations. Each failure is part of a larger journey, a single chapter in a story that is still unfolding. Maintaining perspective allows you to avoid despair, focus on solutions, and maintain motivation despite temporary setbacks. Experimentation is at the heart of learning from failure. Every new strategy, approach, or idea carries risk. Some experiments will fail, but each provides valuable data. Treating life as a series of calculated experiments allows you to embrace failure without fear. By testing approaches, measuring results, and adjusting accordingly, you create a feedback loop that accelerates growth. Those who avoid mistakes entirely often stagnate, while those who learn consistently from failure advance steadily and strategically. Discipline reinforces the lessons learned. Knowledge alone is not sufficient. Understanding what went wrong is only valuable if applied consistently in future decisions. Discipline ensures that insight translates into action. It is the daily practice of refining behavior, maintaining standards, and committing to continuous improvement. By strengthening the link between reflection and execution, mistakes become catalysts rather than obstacles, producing tangible growth over time. The social aspect of learning from failure should not be overlooked. Seeking feedback from mentors, colleagues, or peers provides additional perspective. Others can identify blind spots, offer advice, and challenge assumptions. Constructive input accelerates learning and reduces the likelihood of repeating errors. Collaboration does not diminish personal growth. It enhances it. Surrounding yourself with individuals who encourage analysis and reflection strengthens the habit of turning mistakes into meaningful development. Failure also teaches humility. It reveals the limits of knowledge, the consequences of assumptions, and the importance of preparation. Humility is not weakness, it is wisdom. It encourages a mindset of continuous learning, openness to correction, and adaptability in changing circumstances. By embracing humility, you remain teachable, receptive to feedback, and willing to adjust approaches. This mindset transforms failure from a source of shame into a resource for skill building, character development, and personal evolution. Reflection should be structured to maximize learning. Start by documenting what happened, why it happened, and what you can change moving forward. Writing down failures clarifies thinking and strengthens memory of the lesson. Reviewing written reflections periodically reinforces learning and helps identify patterns in decision-making, behavior, and results. This structured approach ensures that mistakes are not forgotten, but instead integrated into a growing reservoir of wisdom and experience. Adaptability is cultivated by responding to mistakes strategically.
No two failures are identical, and every lesson requires a tailored response. Flexibility in thought and action allows you to implement solutions effectively and avoid repeating errors. Rigid thinking often leads to frustration and stagnation, while adaptive strategies transform challenges into opportunities for growth. Learning from failure requires both insight and the ability to pivot effectively when circumstances demand it. Confidence grows alongside lessons learned. As you analyze mistakes and correct behavior, you gain proof of competence. Each successfully navigated failure reinforces the belief that setbacks are temporary, manageable, and solvable. This confidence allows risk-taking, innovation, and bolder decisions, which further accelerate growth. The paradox is that the more consistently you learn from failure, the less fear you have of it, and the more willing you become to take actions that others avoid. The cumulative effect of learning from mistakes creates momentum. Each corrected action, improved decision, and adjusted habit builds upon the last. This momentum amplifies results over time, producing achievements that appear effortless to outsiders. Those who fail without reflection remain stagnant, repeating cycles of disappointment. Those who embrace lessons consistently grow steadily, quietly, building competence, mastery, and a sense of self-reliance that ultimately leads to freedom and fulfillment. Learning from failure also sharpens problem-solving skill. By analyzing errors, identifying causes, and implementing corrective measures, you develop critical thinking, pattern recognition, and strategic planning abilities. Mistakes become the laboratory in which intellect and judgment are refined. Over time, these skills transfer across all areas of life, improving decision-making in relationships, finances, career, and personal development. The ability to convert setbacks into insight is a hallmark of high achievers. Embracing failure requires courage. It demands that you face discomfort, admit mistakes, and confront uncertainty. The process is never easy, but the rewards are profound. Courage transforms mistakes from sources of regret into opportunities for mastery. Each act of facing failure strengthens resilience, expands capability, and builds the character required to achieve meaningful goals. Over time, repeated exposure to failure reduces fear, increases adaptability, and reinforces a mindset of continuous growth. Patience is essential. Learning from mistakes does not happen instantly. Some lessons take time to reveal themselves fully. Persistent reflection, careful observation, and disciplined application of insight allow gradual, meaningful growth. Impatience often leads to ignoring lessons, repeating errors, or abandoning progress. Patience ensures that learning is sustained, consistent, and ultimately transformational. Accountability complements reflection. Sharing failures with trusted mentors or peers encourages honesty and transparency. Accountability creates reinforcement and additional insight, accelerating growth and reducing blind spots. When paired with structured reflection, accountability ensures that each failure becomes a deliberate step forward rather than an unnoticed setback. Finally, gratitude transforms the perception of failure, recognizing that mistakes are opportunities for growth, and that every lesson strengthens your ability to navigate life, fosters a positive, proactive mindset. Gratitude shifts focus from regret to opportunity, from limitation to possibility. Viewing failure as a teacher, rather than a punishment, empowers consistent learning and builds resilience, confidence, and independence over time. To truly learn consistently from failures, commit to daily reflection, structured analysis, emotional regulation, adaptive response, accountability, and deliberate application. Each mistake is a resource, each setback is an opportunity. Each misstep, when approached with honesty, curiosity, and discipline, produces insight, resilience, and competence. Over time, this practice builds a life where growth is continuous. Decisions are stronger, and setbacks lose their power to derail progress. Embrace failure fully. Analyze mistakes carefully. Apply lessons consistently. Adjust strategies intelligently. Strengthen habits based on insight. Protect emotional balance. Seek accountability and feedback. Stay patient and persistent. Turn every setback into a building block for success. Each failure becomes a step, each lesson a tool, each insight a bridge toward a life defined by growth, competence, and freedom. Learning consistently from failure transforms life. It converts regret into wisdom, disappointment into motivation, and setbacks into momentum. The process is long, deliberate, and often uncomfortable, but it produces results unmatched by luck or chance. Master the habit of extracting lessons from mistakes, and your path forward becomes clear, controlled, and unstoppable. Mistakes no longer dictate the story of your life. They become the fuel for growth, the foundation of character, and the pathway to freedom.
Chapter 6. Prioritize yourself by saying no without feeling guilty. Prioritizing yourself is not selfish. It is essential. Every person has only so much energy, time, and focus in a day. Spreading yourself too thin, saying yes to everything, or trying to please everyone comes at a cost. Energy is finite, attention is limited, and every obligation you accept takes space away from what truly matters. Learning to say no is not about being rude or uncaring. It is about protecting your most valuable resources so you can invest them where they count. The ability to say no without guilt is a skill, a discipline, and a habit that shapes the quality of your life. The first step in prioritizing yourself is recognizing the value of your own time. Many people underestimate what they give away. Hours spent helping others while neglecting personal growth, projects, or rest add up. Time lost can never be recovered. Understanding this shifts your perspective. Every request you receive should be evaluated, not just for politeness or obligation, but for its impact on your priorities, energy, and long-term goals. When you see your time as precious, saying no becomes a necessity rather than a luxury. Saying no effectively begins with clarity about your own goals. What are you trying to achieve? What habits, projects, or relationships deserve your focus? Without clarity, every request feels urgent, every demand pressing, and every opportunity seems equal. In reality, they are not. By clearly defining your priorities, you create a framework for making decisions. Saying no becomes easier because you have a reason grounded in purpose, not fear of offending others or missing out. Clarity eliminates hesitation and empowers confident, intentional action. Guilt is often the biggest obstacle when prioritizing yourself. Society teaches that saying yes is polite, helpful, and virtuous, while saying no is selfish. This belief creates internal conflict, leaving people feeling torn between self-care and obligation. To overcome this, reframe the mindset. Saying no is a form of responsibility. You are protecting your ability to contribute meaningfully where it truly matters. You are not rejecting the person, you are honoring your capacity to act with integrity, focus, and energy. Every no is an investment in quality rather than quantity of effort. Boundaries are the practical manifestation of saying no. Clear boundaries define what is acceptable, manageable, and aligned with your goals. Boundaries protect energy, prevent burnout, and preserve focus. They can be small, like declining a social invitation, or large, like refusing tasks that distract from long-term objectives. Setting boundaries is not about confrontation, it is about establishing rules that respect your time, mental state, and priority. When boundaries are maintained consistently, saying no becomes second nature rather than an uncomfortable decision. Saying no requires courage. Fear of disappointing others, fear of rejection, or fear of conflict often prevents people from asserting themselves. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. By practicing saying no in small situations, you strengthen the skill and gain confidence. Each successful boundary reinforces self-respect, diminishes guilt, and protects energy. Courage, clarity, and consistent practice transform the act of saying no into a powerful tool for personal empowerment. Self-awareness is crucial. Notice when you are overcommitted, exhausted, or distracted. Pay attention to your emotional and mental state. Many people say yes automatically without considering the impact on their own well-being. By cultivating awareness, you identify opportunities to say no before agreeing impulsively. Awareness creates a pause, a moment to evaluate the request in light of your goals, energy, and priority. It ensures that each no is intentional, measured, and aligned with your long-term interests. Communication skills enhance the effectiveness of saying no. It is not necessary to be harsh or dismissive. A simple, firm, and respectful explanation communicates your decision without damaging relationships. Honesty, clarity, and confidence in delivery reduce the need for guilt or over-explanation. When people see that your no comes from a place of purpose rather than avoidance or laziness, it is understood and often respected. Strong communication reinforces boundaries and strengthens personal agency. Consistency is essential in prioritizing yourself. A single no may be accepted, but repeated inconsistency erodes respect, clarity, and confidence. Consistent prioritization builds a pattern that others recognize. It signals that your time and energy are valuable. Over time, people adjust expectations, and requests align more closely with what you can realistically offer. Consistency in saying no without guilt ensures that your life remains focused, intentional, and free from unnecessary distraction. Reflection strengthens the practice of prioritization. At the end of each week or month, review how time was spent, which requests were accepted, and which could have been declined. Identify moments where saying no would have preserved energy, focus, or mental clarity. Reflection reinforces learning, enhances decision-making, and strengthens the habit of protecting priorities. Every review is a chance to refine your boundaries, improve assertiveness, and maintain alignment with goals. Long-term freedom emerges when prioritization is practiced consistently. By saying no strategically, you reclaim energy for personal growth, meaningful relationships, and important projects. Freedom is not just financial or physical, it is the capacity to direct your attention, energy, and focus where it produces the greatest impact. Each no builds leverage over life's demands, allowing deliberate choices rather than reactionary responses. Freedom grows quietly through repeated, thoughtful, and guilt-free prioritization. Emotional intelligence supports saying no effectively. Understanding your feelings, triggers, and limitations allows decisions to be made calmly and confidently. Recognizing when you are stretched too thin, drained, or distracted informs your ability to assert boundaries without aggression or defensiveness. Emotional awareness prevents impulsive yeses, protects energy, and fosters healthier interactions. It strengthens self-respect and ensures that prioritization aligns with both practical needs and emotional well-being. Time management enhances the ability to say no. Clear schedules, goal-oriented routines, and organized priorities create space for intentional decision-making. When time is structured and commitments are visible, it becomes easier to evaluate new requests objectively. Requests that do not align with goals or priorities are declined without hesitation. Efficient time management reinforces confidence, reduces stress, and creates a framework in which saying no is both natural and strategic. Saying no is also an act of respect for others. Agreeing to obligations you cannot fulfill diminishes trust, creates frustration, and compromises quality. By declining requests that exceed capacity, you ensure that commitments you do make are delivered with excellence. Protecting your energy does not harm others. It allows you to contribute effectively where it truly matters. This perspective reframes no from being negative to being a responsible, honorable choice. Practice builds skill. Start with small requests.
polite declines, or minor obligation. Each successful no reinforces confidence, reduces guilt and strengthens boundaries. Gradually, the ability to decline larger or more complicated requests grows. Skillful prioritization emerges through repetition, awareness, and reinforcement. Over time, saying no without guilt becomes instinctive rather than stressful, creating space for meaningful growth, energy conservation, and focus on what matters most. Perspective strengthens the habit of saying no. Recognize that every no is a choice to protect what is most important. It is not a rejection of the person or an act of cruelty. It is an investment in personal effectiveness. When this mindset is internalized, guilt diminishes, clarity increases, and energy is preserved. Saying no becomes an empowering practice rather than a source of anxiety or conflict. Self-discipline supports long-term prioritization. It is easier to say yes, to comply, to give in to requests. Discipline allows you to pause, evaluate and decide based on purpose rather than obligation or emotion. Each disciplined no reinforces personal authority over time, builds confidence, and strengthens alignment with life goals. Habits of self-discipline compound silently, producing results that shape independence, focus, and meaningful achievement. Energy preservation is critical. Every yes to something misaligned with priorities diminishes energy available for what truly matters. Protecting energy through strategic no decisions enhances productivity, focus, and resilience. Energy is not unlimited, and prioritizing yourself ensures that it is invested in high-value activities that produce long-term results rather than immediate gratification or temporary satisfaction. Self-respect grows as boundaries are maintained. Each intentional no reinforces the principle that your needs, time, and goals matter. This self-respect translates into confidence, assertiveness, and the ability to make tough decisions without wavering. Respect for yourself strengthens relationships, clarifies purpose, and builds independence. Over time, it fosters a life in which choices are intentional, deliberate, and aligned with your highest priorities. Consistency, clarity, courage, and communication form the pillars of saying no without guilt. Protect time, energy, and focus by evaluating requests objectively. Set boundaries that honor personal priorities. Communicate decisions respectfully. Practice discipline. Review and reflect regularly. Align choices with long-term goals. Each decision to prioritize yourself strengthens independence, focus, and personal growth. The habit of saying no without guilt is transformative. It allows you to devote attention to what matters most, strengthens confidence, protects energy, and reduces stress. Each intentional no builds leverage, focus, and momentum. Over time, the consistent practice of prioritization produces freedom, clarity, and a sense of control over life. You are no longer at the mercy of external demands. Your time and energy are directed deliberately, purposefully, and effectively. Prioritize yourself consistently. Protect your energy. Set boundaries clearly. Evaluate requests objectively. Communicate with respect. Practice discipline daily. Reflect and adjust decisions. Invest time in high-value activities. Say no strategically. Each decision compounds into focus, growth, and long-term freedom. By learning to say no without guilt, you reclaim control over life, elevate personal impact, and create space to thrive.
Chapter 7. Create routines that make progress automatic and effortless daily. Progress is not a random event. It is not something that happens by chance, luck, or external circumstances. Real, meaningful growth comes from deliberate, repeated actions performed consistently over time. The most successful people do not rely on motivation alone. They rely on routines that guide their behavior automatically, creating momentum that drives results without constant effort or willpower. Routines are the structure behind achievement. They transform decisions from a daily struggle into effortless action, allowing progress to happen naturally, quietly, and consistently. The first step in creating effective routines is understanding the power of repetition. Repetition turns actions into habits. Habits reduce the mental energy required to act and allow you to focus on higher-level decisions. Without structure, progress is sporadic. Motivation fluctuates, energy wanes, and results become unpredictable. By establishing routines, you automate success. You remove the friction of choice, eliminate the need to rely on fluctuating moods, and ensure that essential actions are performed consistently, day after day. Identify the actions that produce meaningful results. Not every task deserves routine attention. Focus on behaviors that move you closer to your goals, whether it is improving health, building skills, managing finances, or enhancing relationships. These high-leverage actions form the foundation of your daily routine. Once the critical actions are identified, create a sequence, allocate consistent time, and repeat until they become effortless. This ensures that your energy is invested in activities that generate tangible progress rather than scattered, low-value effort. Start small. Attempting to overhaul your entire life at once leads to burnout and inconsistency. Break down goals into manageable steps that can be incorporated into daily routines. Small actions, when performed consistently, accumulate into significant results. For example, reading 10 pages a day, saving a small portion of income, or practicing a skill for 15 minutes may seem minor initially, but the cumulative effect over weeks and months is extraordinary. The key is persistence, not intensity. Small, repeated actions create the foundation for long-term achievement. Consistency is critical. Routines are only effective if performed regularly. Skipping days, delaying tasks, or acting sporadically weakens momentum and undermines progress. Treat routines as commitments rather than optional activities. Each day that you follow through reinforces discipline, strengthens habits, and moves you closer to your desired outcomes. The repetition of meaningful actions is far more powerful than occasional bursts of effort. Progress grows quietly, steadily, and predictably when routines are maintained consistently over time. Structure your day deliberately. Effective routines require intentional planning. Allocate time for essential activities, minimize distractions, and protect focus. Routines are most powerful when embedded in a structured environment that encourages follow-through. By controlling the timing, sequence, and context of daily actions, you make it easier to perform essential behaviors consistently. Structured routines reduce decision fatigue, save energy, and make success a natural byproduct of your environment, rather than an ongoing struggle against chaos. Automation enhances routines. Find ways to reduce reliance on memory, motivation, or willpower. Schedule tasks, create checklists, and establish triggers that prompt action automatically. For example, exercising at the same time each day, preparing meals in advance, or setting reminders for critical tasks ensures that actions happen reliably. Automation reduces mental load and creates momentum that sustains growth. Over time, the brain associates these triggers with action, and progress occurs effortlessly without conscious effort or negotiation with yourself. Accountability strengthens routine. Even automated habits benefit from feedback and oversight. Track progress, monitor results, or share goals with a mentor or trusted peer. Accountability reinforces commitment, highlights areas for improvement, and maintains focus. Knowing that routines are observed or measured increases adherence and motivates continuous improvement. When accountability is combined with automation and consistency, daily actions compound, producing results that far exceed what sporadic effort can achieve. Flexibility should be incorporated without compromising consistency. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected events can disrupt routines. Adaptation allows you to maintain progress despite obstacles. Adjust timing, scale, or sequence while preserving the core actions that drive results. The ability to modify routines without abandoning them ensures momentum is sustained. Flexibility combined with discipline creates resilience, allowing routines to continue operating as engines of progress, even in challenging circumstances. Energy management enhances routine effectiveness. Actions are easier to perform consistently when you are physically and mentally capable. Protect sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mental well-being to support your routines. When energy is optimized, performing essential tasks becomes effortless rather than a struggle. Routines are not just about scheduling actions. They are about aligning them with your natural capacity to act. By respecting energy cycles and maintaining physical and mental health, daily routines produce maximum results with minimal resistance. Reflection is essential. Periodically review routines to assess effectiveness. Identify obstacles and adjust where necessary. Examine which actions produce results, which are redundant, and which require modification. Reflection ensures that routines evolve with goals, circumstances, and priority. Without review, habits can continue without producing meaningful progress. Structured reflection transforms daily repetition into purposeful action, ensuring that routines are always aligned with long-term objectives. Progress grows exponentially through compounding habit. Each routine builds upon the last, reinforcing skill, discipline, and confidence. Small actions repeated consistently lead to significant mastery over time. For instance, daily reading enhances knowledge, regular exercise strengthens health, and consistent planning improves decision-making. These routines compound quietly, creating momentum that accelerates growth and produces results far beyond initial expectations. Compounding is the secret behind effortless, continuous progress. Routines also strengthen mental clarity. When critical actions are automated, fewer decisions need to be made, reducing mental clutter and stress. This frees cognitive resources for creative thinking, strategic planning, and problem solving. A structured day minimizes distractions and maximizes focus, allowing for deeper engagement in high-value activities. Over time, the mind becomes sharper, more resilient, and better equipped to make informed decisions that drive success. Routines create predictability, which reduces stress. Knowing that important tasks will be accomplished, that progress is built daily, and that priorities are addressed, fosters confidence and calm. Uncertainty and disorganization often lead to anxiety, procrastination, and reactive behavior. Structured routines mitigate these risks, producing a stable environment in which growth occurs naturally. Predictable habits build both competence and peace of mind. Integration is key. Routines should be incorporated into all areas of life, not just work or productivity. Health, finances, relationships, learning, and personal growth all benefit from consistent actions. By integrating routines across multiple domains, you ensure balanced progress. Neglecting one area undermines overall success. Holistic routines produce harmony, ensuring that growth is sustainable, effortless, and comprehensive rather than isolated or sporadic. Motivation alone is insufficient. Routines create action, even when motivation wanes. Motivation fluctuates daily. Habits do not. Establishing routines allows you to continue performing essential actions, regardless of emotional state. This reliability is the foundation of long-term progress. By embedding success into daily habits, you eliminate reliance on fleeting inspiration and create a system where growth occurs automatically. Incremental improvement is the principle behind effective routines. Focus on making small, consistent enhancements rather than seeking radical change. Slight adjustments compounded over time produce extraordinary results. For example, improving work efficiency by 1% each day, reading slightly more, or refining financial habits gradually builds mastery.
Routines provide the framework for consistent, incremental improvement that leads to effortless, long-term progress. Visualization supports adherence. Mentally rehearsing routines reinforces commitment and performance. Seeing yourself completing tasks, maintaining focus, and progressing daily strengthens mental alignment with actions. Visualization enhances discipline, reduces resistance, and reinforces the habit loop. Over time, the combination of mental rehearsal and consistent repetition makes routines almost automatic, requiring minimal conscious effort. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge completion of daily routines, achievements of incremental milestones, and progress made consistently. Recognition reinforces behavior, strengthens motivation, and encourages continuation. Even minor accomplishments compound into confidence, momentum, and the habit of consistent action. Daily celebration reinforces the idea that progress is built quietly, steadily, and sustainably. Resilience is built through routine. Life presents obstacles, setbacks, and disruptions. Consistent routines anchor your day, ensuring that essential actions continue even in difficult circumstances. Momentum is preserved, confidence remains intact, and goals remain on track. Routines provide stability, structure, and strength, allowing progress to continue quietly despite external challenges. Habits of reflection, adjustment, and focus refine routines. Review which elements are effective, which can be improved, and which are no longer aligned with priority. Continuous refinement ensures that routines evolve alongside goals, circumstances, and personal growth. This iterative approach prevents stagnation and maximizes efficiency. Over time, routines become finely tuned mechanisms for effortless daily progress. Social environment influences routine effectiveness. Surround yourself with individuals who respect structure, discipline, and personal growth. A supportive environment reinforces routines, reduces friction, and encourages accountability. Conversely, chaotic or unsupportive surroundings undermine consistency. Curate a social context that amplifies habits, supports momentum, and reinforces focus on meaningful actions. Long-term freedom and mastery emerge when routines are established. Each daily repetition builds skill, knowledge, discipline, and confidence. Progress becomes automatic, momentum accumulates, and results unfold without constant struggle. Routines transform effort into compound growth, making success a natural outcome rather than a product of luck or sporadic effort. The life you desire is a product of the routines you maintain consistently. To create routines that make progress effortless, identify high-value actions, start small, repeat consistently, automate where possible, protect energy, reflect regularly, and adjust intelligently. Align routines with long-term goals, integrate across domains, manage time, maintain discipline, and leverage accountability. Each repetition compounds, producing mastery, momentum, and a quiet, steady path toward achievement. Consistency, clarity, structure, reflection, energy management, and incremental improvement form the pillars of effortless progress. Daily routines transform intention into action, struggle into flow, and effort into measurable results. Over time, the accumulation of these habits produces competence, freedom, and a life shaped deliberately, rather than reactively. Focus on what matters, perform it daily, automate essential actions, track progress, adjust strategies, reflect frequently, protect energy, maintain discipline, integrate routines across life, celebrate consistency, repeat. Each day compounds into a life where progress is automatic, effortless, and unstoppable. The small, repeated actions of today create the extraordinary results of tomorrow.
Chapter 8. Control impulses to stop wasting energy on meaningless distractions. Energy is the currency of achievement. Every moment spent chasing distractions, reacting impulsively, or giving attention to meaningless activity reduces the power you have to create the life you want. The ability to control impulses is not about restriction or denial. It is about direction. It is about consciously choosing where to invest your attention, your effort, and your time. Impulse control is a form of self-respect, a practice that protects your energy, and a skill that allows you to focus on what truly matters. Without it, progress becomes random, fragmented, and exhausting. With it, life becomes deliberate, purposeful, and productive. The first step in mastering impulses is awareness. Most impulses are automatic. We reach for our phones, scroll endlessly, react to messages, or engage in behaviors without thinking. Energy leaks away silently, leaving us tired, distracted, and frustrated. Awareness is the foundation of control. Observe when and why impulses arise. Recognize triggers, emotions, and environments that lead to meaningless actions. Awareness creates choice. It gives you the power to pause, evaluate, and decide rather than react unconsciously. Self-reflection strengthens impulse control. Take time to examine how distractions impact your goals, relationships, and well-being. Journaling, mental review, or daily reflection allows you to identify patterns. Which impulses are productive, which drain energy without adding value. Understanding these patterns is essential for change. Reflection transforms abstract awareness into actionable insight, highlighting opportunities to reclaim time, energy, and focus. Delayed response is a practical tool. Impulses often feel urgent, but acting immediately rarely produces meaningful results. Practice pausing before responding to messages, notifications, or sudden urges. Take a breath. Consider alternatives, and ask whether the action contributes to your priorities. This brief pause interrupts automatic behavior, creating a space where conscious choice replaces reflexive reaction. Over time, delayed response becomes a habit, allowing energy to flow toward meaningful pursuits rather than wasted on distractions. Environment plays a critical role. Impulses are triggered by surroundings. Phones, social media, noisy spaces, or cluttered desks increase temptation and reduce self-control. By arranging your environment strategically, you minimize unnecessary triggers. Remove distractions, organize spaces for focus, and create conditions that support intentional action. When your environment is aligned with your goals, impulses lose power and your energy remains available for high-value tasks. Goal clarity reinforces control. When you know what matters most, distractions are easier to resist. Clear objectives provide a filter for decision. Ask, does this action move me toward my goals? If not, it is a low-value impulse that drains time and energy. A focused mind automatically evaluates opportunities through the lens of purpose. Goals are anchors that keep behavior aligned with intention, reducing susceptibility to trivial distractions. Habits support impulse control. Small, consistent behaviors build self-discipline over time. Morning routines, focused work sessions, and intentional breaks reduce reliance on willpower alone. Habits automate beneficial behaviors, leaving less room for impulsive, low-value actions. By embedding control into routine structures, you make deliberate focus effortless. Habits act as the scaffolding that channels energy into productive pathways rather than letting it dissipate into meaningless activity. Mindfulness enhances awareness and control. Paying attention to thoughts, sensations, and emotions in the present moment strengthens the ability to notice impulses before acting. Mindfulness allows you to recognize the urge, acknowledge it without judgment, and redirect focus to meaningful tasks. Practicing even a few minutes of mindful observation daily improves impulse regulation, reduces reactivity, and strengthens mental resilience against distractions. Prioritization creates boundaries that protect energy. Not all opportunities, messages, or requests deserve attention. Learn to evaluate the significance and impact of each potential action. Prioritizing important work over minor distractions ensures that energy is invested wisely. By systematically focusing on high-value activities first, impulses toward low-value tasks naturally lose appeal. Prioritization is a proactive strategy that prevents energy from being siphoned away by trivial matters. Self-control grows through repeated practice. Each successful decision to resist a meaningless impulse strengthens mental discipline. Every moment you redirect attention toward meaningful work reinforces your ability to act intentionally. Like a muscle, self-control becomes stronger with consistent training. Even small victories, repeated daily, compound over time into extraordinary resilience, focus, and productivity. Digital discipline is essential in modern life. Phones, apps, and notifications are engineered to capture attention. Unchecked, they fragment focus and drain energy. Implement strategies such as scheduled checking, app restrictions, and notification management. Use technology intentionally rather than allowing it to dictate behavior. Mastery over digital impulses preserves mental clarity, supports meaningful action, and prevents exhaustion from constant distraction. Decision fatigue reduces the ability to resist impulses. Each day brings countless choices, and each decision consumes mental energy. Simplify repetitive decisions by creating routines, standardizing meals, clothing and workflows, and automating low-value tasks. By conserving mental energy, you enhance capacity to resist high-stakes or tempting impulses. Structured simplification protects focus and ensures that willpower is available for meaningful choices. Emotional management is key. Many impulses arise from unprocessed feelings, boredom, stress, anger, or fear. When emotional states dominate behavior, actions often serve immediate relief rather than long-term goals. Recognize emotional triggers, pause, and respond intentionally. Channel energy into constructive outlets rather than reflexive reactions. Emotional regulations strengthens clarity, resilience, and the ability to act according to purpose rather than impulse. Reward and accountability systems reinforce control. Recognize and celebrate moments when you successfully resist meaningless impulses. Track progress, set benchmarks, and measure focus over time. Accountability to yourself or a mentor reinforces behavior, strengthens motivation, and supports consistent practice. Rewards should align with long-term objectives rather than instant gratification. Strategic reinforcement builds confidence and resilience against future temptation. Mentally rehearsing situations where distractions arise prepares the mind to respond intentionally. Envision challenges, potential triggers, and successful navigation. Visualization enhances self-efficacy, reduces stress, and strengthens neural pathways that favor deliberate action. Mental preparation creates automaticity in resisting impulses, making focused action more likely even in stressful or tempting environments. Energy alignment enhances focus. Impulses often strike when energy is low. Fatigue, hunger, or lack of movement increases susceptibility to distraction. Maintain physical well-being through rest, nutrition, and activity. When energy is optimized, the mind operates at peak capacity, decisions are clearer, and the ability to resist meaningless impulses improves naturally. Energy management and impulse control are deeply interconnected. Learning to say no is an essential tool. Impulses often involve reacting to requests, invitations, or suggestions that do not align with priorities. Saying no without guilt protects attention, energy, and focus. A firm, polite, and confident decline prevents distractions from consuming time and mental resources. Over time, saying no becomes intuitive, creating more space for intentional and meaningful actions. Focus on single tasking rather than multitask. Dispersed attention weakens control, increases stress, and amplifies impulsive behavior. By dedicating energy to one meaningful task at a time, distractions lose power. Single tasking improves efficiency, depth of work, and satisfaction.
Impulses toward low-value activities diminish naturally when attention is concentrated and absorbed by purpose-driven action. Reflection reinforces learning from distractions. At the end of each day or week, review where attention was lost, what triggered impulses, and how energy was wasted. Identify patterns, adjust routines, and refine strategies. Reflection transforms scattered effort into intentional learning, ensuring that each moment of distraction becomes an opportunity to strengthen control, focus, and energy management. Gradual reduction is more effective than strict elimination. Attempting to remove all distractions at once can create resistance and stress. Instead, prioritize high-impact impulses first, gradually reducing exposure to low-value distraction. Each step builds confidence, habit strength, and self-regulation. Incremental improvement allows control to become sustainable, integrated, and deeply embedded in daily life. Curiosity channels impulses, positive. Instead of succumbing to mindless distraction, direct energy toward exploration, learning, or creative problem-solving. Transform the urge to act into opportunities for growth. Curiosity preserves focus, enhances engagement, and converts previously wasted energy into meaningful outcome. Impulses do not need to disappear, they need direction. Controlled curiosity is a productive alternative to meaningless behavior. Compounding effect of small wins applies here. Each moment of successful impulse control contributes to cumulative progress. Days of deliberate focus, even when small, add up to mastery of attention, improved productivity, and enhanced life outcomes. Control over energy becomes easier with time, producing long-term momentum that allows you to operate at peak effectiveness without constant struggle. Resilience grows as impulses are managed consistently. Challenges, stress, and external demands test focus. Each time you resist distraction and act intentionally, resilience strengthens. Over time, the ability to maintain focus under pressure becomes automatic. Energy is preserved, productivity increases, and mental clarity becomes a default state rather than an exception. Intentional reward creates reinforcement. Celebrate moments when focus is maintained, energy is preserved, and meaningful tasks are completed despite temptation. Positive reinforcement strengthens habits, reduces resistance to control, and encourages ongoing effort. Recognition need not be external. Acknowledgement of personal achievement is powerful. This internal reward system builds self-efficacy and confidence over time. Control of impulses is not about deprivation. It is about liberation. It frees energy, attention, and focus for pursuits that matter. Life becomes deliberate rather than reactionary, intentional rather than chaotic. Each act of discipline increases competence, clarity, and capacity to influence outcomes. Mastery over distractions produces quiet confidence, freedom of choice, and the ability to direct energy toward creating the life you desire. In practice, control arises through awareness, reflection, delayed response, structured environment, prioritization, habit formation, mindfulness, energy management, single tasking, and accountability. Integrate these strategies consistently, refine them through feedback, and observe the cumulative effect on focus, productivity, and personal growth. Impulses lose power when attention, intention, and energy are aligned with meaningful goals. The life of achievement is quiet, deliberate, and intentional. Every moment spent reacting to impulses is energy diverted from creating value, building skill, and achieving objectives. Learning to control impulses transforms wasted effort into productivity, shallow engagement into deep focus, and scattered energy into meaningful accomplishment. The cumulative impact of small, consistent, intentional actions is extraordinary. Protect energy, act intentionally, observe impulses, pause before responding, prioritize meaning, maintain habits, reflect it consistently, manage environment, control emotions, direct curiosity, celebrate wins. Each act of self-regulation compounds into focus, productivity, and freedom. Mastering impulses is mastering life.
Chapter 9. Build wealth silently while others chase unnecessary approval constantly. True wealth is not about show, recognition, or validation from others. It is about control, security, and the freedom to live life on your terms. Many people waste their energy seeking approval, attention, or status, while neglecting the quiet, consistent actions that create lasting financial stability. Building wealth silently is not glamorous or immediate, but it is powerful, deliberate, and sustainable. Wealth that grows quietly compounds over time, unbothered by trends, opinions, or external approval. Learning to focus on the process rather than applause is the cornerstone of financial independence. The first principle is understanding that wealth grows through discipline, not visibility. Impulsive spending, flashy consumption, or seeking admiration through material display dissipates resources rather than building them. Wealth is created by deliberate actions, saving consistently, investing wisely, and focusing on income streams that compound over time. Every small decision, choosing to save instead of splurge, investing in skills rather than appearances, contributes silently to long-term abundance. Visibility and recognition are distractions from the real work that produces financial security. Focus on income over image. Many chase approval through status symbols, costly possessions, or public recognition. These pursuits often lead to debt, stress, and insecurity. By contrast, investing energy into skills, productive work, and opportunities that generate real wealth produces quiet, lasting results. Skills create leverage, expertise increases value, effort compounds into outcomes. Unlike external validation, these investments grow independently of others' opinions. Wealth built silently offers freedom and options without the pressure of social judgment. Patience is critical. Building meaningful wealth is a long-term endeavor. It requires resisting the temptation to compare, compete, or display success prematurely. Wealth is like a tree. Its roots must grow deep before its fruits appear. Many fail because they focus on instant approval, recognition, or short-term gratification. Those who succeed quietly understand that slow, consistent effort produces stronger, more enduring outcomes than hurried, flashy attempts to impress. Patience allows compounding to take effect and decisions to be made rationally rather than emotionally. Avoid unnecessary approval-seeking behaviors. Social media, peer pressure, and cultural norms often push people to overspend, overcommit, or show off. Chasing likes, praise, or validation diverts attention from wealth-building activities. Every moment spent performing for others is energy lost that could be invested in creating real value. By detaching from the need for approval, focus shifts to productive action, skill growth, and strategic financial decisions. Approval fades, results endure. Consistency produces silent wealth. Daily small actions, saving a portion of income, learning investment strategies, developing skills, accumulate over time. The power of compounding works quietly, producing outcomes that may go unnoticed for years. Consistent effort is more powerful than dramatic gestures or sporadic attention. Wealth built through regular, disciplined action eventually surpasses wealth that is earned for the sake of recognition or immediate gratification. Frugality is a tool for silent wealth. This does not mean deprivation, it means conscious choice. Evaluate spending, distinguish wants from needs, and allocate resources strategically. Avoid the trap of using wealth to gain approval from others. Financial discipline ensures that money is directed toward growth, security, and long-term objectives, rather than temporary social validation. Frugality builds freedom by preserving resources for meaningful investments instead of dissipating them on appearances. Invest in skills that create leverage, knowledge, expertise, and the ability to generate value are far more powerful than superficial displays of wealth. Skills increase earning potential, open doors to opportunities, and produce independent financial outcomes. Unlike flashy purchases, skills grow silently, compound in value, and produce returns that continue regardless of recognition. Every hour spent learning, practicing, or refining ability is a step toward financial security that does not rely on anyone else's opinion. Control lifestyle inflation. Many measure success by comparison, upgrading possessions as income rises. This creates a cycle of spending that erodes financial progress. Silent wealth requires resisting the urge to live beyond means for approval. Maintain a lifestyle below your means, save and reinvest. The gap between income and expenses becomes the fuel for long-term growth. Discipline in lifestyle choices ensures wealth grows quietly and sustainably, independent of social pressures or trends. Long-term thinking is essential. Wealth accumulation requires foresight. Evaluate opportunities, assess risk, and avoid impulsive decisions aimed at immediate recognition. Focus on actions that produce outcomes years from now rather than applause today. Strategic thinking ensures that resources, effort, and energy are directed toward decisions that compound silently, producing security, freedom, and independence over time. Those who chase approval often sacrifice future stability for fleeting recognition. Avoid comparison traps. Comparing financial progress to others creates unnecessary pressure, impulsive decisions, and wasted energy. Every person's journey is unique. Silent wealth thrives in self-directed growth, not in reaction to peers. Focus on personal metrics, long-term goals, and measurable progress. Avoiding comparison preserves mental clarity, reduces stress, and allows disciplined, deliberate financial decisions. Approval seeking leads to distraction. Self-directed focus leads to accumulation. Mindset shapes financial behavior. Wealth is a result of thinking and acting with intention. A scarcity mindset encourages approval seeking, impulsive spending, and attention to others' opinions. An abundance mindset values growth, consistency, and independent progress. Silent wealth requires belief in delayed rewards, trust in disciplined action, and commitment to personal strategy. Mindset is the foundation, behavior follows. Wealth emerges as a product of deliberate thinking, applied consistently over time. Leverage resources strategically. Investments, side businesses, and income-generating skills should be prioritized over superficial consumption. Leverage allows quiet growth without dependence on recognition or external validation. Every dollar, hour, and effort directed strategically produces compounding returns. Wealth created this way grows independently of visibility, applause, or comparison. Discipline in resource allocation ensures long-term independence. Avoid impulsive decisions. Many lose financial momentum by acting on emotional urges, trends, or social pressure. Impulse spending, risky investments without knowledge, or decisions made to impress others erode silent wealth. Each decision should be evaluated for long-term impact, alignment with goals, and contribution to independence. Self-control protects capital, preserves energy, and allows wealth to grow quietly and steadily. Track progress internally, not externally. Focus on measurable outcomes, savings, investment growth, and skill development, rather than public recognition. Metrics that matter are those that contribute to security and freedom, not likes, approval, or applause. Internal focus strengthens discipline, reduces distraction, and reinforces silent accumulation of wealth. The quiet satisfaction of knowing your resources and skills are growing is far more valuable than external validation.
Financial education is critical. Learn about investing, budgeting, tax efficiency, and business opportunities. Knowledge empowers independent decision-making, reduces reliance on advice that seeks to impress, and strengthens confidence in silent wealth-building strategy. Each new concept mastered, each skill applied, compounds quietly over time, producing results that are sustainable and independent of social approval. Avoid debt for appearances. Borrowing to maintain a facade or lifestyle beyond means is destructive. Silent wealth requires discipline, patience, and strategic planning. Debt that does not contribute to growth or independence erodes freedom and energy. Financial independence grows from careful planning, measured risk-taking, and strategic investment, not from chasing approval through borrowed resources. Persistence compounds. Wealth is rarely built overnight. It requires months and years of consistent effort. Quiet accumulation means investing in reliable growth paths rather than chasing quick wins, social trends, or praise-driven outcomes. Patience and persistence transform small daily actions into significant results. The compounding effect of quiet, deliberate effort is extraordinary over time. Avoid distractions that mimic success. Flashy purchases, status symbols, or public displays of wealth often provide temporary satisfaction, but do not build independence. Silent wealth focuses on actions that matter: investments, savings, skill building, and strategic planning. Each choice to prioritize substance over appearance strengthens financial security and independence. Wealth grows quietly, far from public attention, while energy is preserved for meaningful pursuits. Generosity can coexist with silent wealth. Giving strategically, without seeking recognition, allows resources to circulate, builds respect, and reinforces abundance mindset. True generosity does not require applause. Silent wealth is compatible with meaningful contribution, but always through intentional, values-driven action rather than impulsive approval-seeking behavior. Reflection and review enhance silent wealth building. Regularly assess spending, saving, investment progress, and skill development. Identify actions that advance independence and eliminate behaviors motivated by validation. Review reinforces discipline, strengthens focus, and ensures that growth remains aligned with long-term objectives. Silent wealth thrives on thoughtful evaluation and continuous improvement. Invest in networks that matter. Relationships with mentors, collaborators, and like-minded peers create opportunities, knowledge, and growth. Avoid attention-seeking social circles that emphasize approval over substance. Strategic relationships amplify wealth quietly through guidance, insight, and shared opportunities, rather than public display or approval-chasing behavior. Control ego-driven decisions. Many actions in pursuit of approval are motivated by ego rather than strategy. Silent wealth requires humility, patience, and focus. Decisions are made rationally, strategically, and in alignment with long-term objectives, not to feed pride, impress peers, or display status. Ego-driven actions often undermine progress and distract energy from real growth. Time is your most valuable asset. Focus on activities that increase value, produce independence, and compound over years. Energy spent seeking approval is energy wasted. Time invested in learning, earning, and skill building produces results far beyond public attention. Silent wealth is a product of how you allocate attention, not the number of eyes watching your efforts. Daily habits reinforce silent accumulation. Saving, investing, skill building, and self-education performed consistently generate compounding results. Habits eliminate the need for constant decision-making, reduce reliance on willpower, and allow wealth to grow quietly and predictably. Small repeated actions, are the foundation of long-term independence. The freedom of silent wealth is profound. It allows you to live life without constant pressure to impress, perform, or justify. Financial independence emerges from consistent effort, disciplined choices, and focus on high-value action. Approval fades, trends change, and public opinion shifts, but the results of disciplined, quiet action endure. Silent wealth produces security, autonomy, and freedom to focus on what truly matters. Focus on actions that matter. Ignore applause. Prioritize growth. Save consistently. Invest strategically. Develop skills. Avoid unnecessary display. Control impulses. Reflect daily. Build quietly. Each step compounds into independence, security, and freedom. Wealth earned silently is wealth preserved, leveraged, and protected over a lifetime.
Chapter 10. Live deliberately by aligning choices with what truly matters. Living deliberately is the most powerful form of freedom you can achieve. It is the practice of making conscious choices that align with your values, priorities, and long-term vision rather than reacting to circumstances, expectations, or fleeting desires. Every decision, no matter how small, shapes the trajectory of your life. Yet most people drift through life, allowing others' opinions, distractions, and immediate gratification to dictate their path. Deliberate living requires awareness, clarity, and courage to act in ways that genuinely serve your purpose. It transforms life from a series of random events into a coherent, intentional journey toward fulfillment and independence. The first step is clarity. You cannot live deliberately without understanding what truly matters to you. Define your values, your long-term objectives, and the principles that guide your life. Without this foundation, decisions become reactive, scattered, or based on temporary emotions. Clarity brings focus. It illuminates the path forward and provides a framework for evaluating every opportunity and choice. When values are clear, life is easier to navigate because decisions naturally align with what is important. Awareness is equally critical. Pay attention to how you spend time, energy, and attention. Notice habits, routines, and reactions that either serve or detract from your priorities. Awareness reveals where drift occurs and where intentional action is required. Most people are unaware of how small daily choices accumulate into outcomes that may contradict their desired life. By cultivating awareness, you create the ability to intervene, redirect energy, and act deliberately rather than unconsciously. Prioritization shapes deliberate living. Not all tasks, requests, or activities carry equal weight. Evaluate every potential action through the lens of significance and impact. Ask whether it contributes meaningfully to your long-term vision, personal growth, relationships, or financial independence. Actions that do not align with priorities consume energy and time without producing value. By prioritizing deliberately, you ensure that each decision advances your life in alignment with what matters most. Saying no is a core skill. Living deliberately requires rejecting distractions, unnecessary obligations, and opportunities that do not align with your values. Saying no is not selfish, it is an act of self-respect and clarity. It preserves your energy, protects focus, and ensures that attention is reserved for what truly. Every refusal strengthens your capacity to act intentionally and prevents external demands from dictating your life trajectory. Consistency in action amplifies deliberate living. It is not enough to make one or two conscious choices. Every day requires alignment. Develop routines, habits, and rituals that reinforce your priority. Daily repetition transforms intentional decisions into automatic behaviors, freeing mental space for higher-level thinking and creative problem-solving. Consistency compounds. Small deliberate actions, repeated daily, produce extraordinary outcomes over months and years. Avoid reactive behavior. Many lives are shaped by immediate circumstances, other people's expectations, or fleeting desires. Reacting to every notification, opinion, or urge drains energy and shifts focus away from deliberate choices. Pause, evaluate, and respond thoughtfully. Ask whether an action supports your long-term vision or simply satisfies a short-term impulse. Deliberate living is proactive, not reactive. It prioritizes what matters rather than what is urgent or attention-grabbing. Control over attention is vital. Energy is limited, and attention scattered on meaningless tasks, social media, or gossip reduces capacity to act intentionally. Focus on what provides lasting value, learning, growth, or contribution. Training attention strengthens the mind, reinforces deliberate action, and ensures that mental energy is applied where it creates meaningful results. Attention is the gateway to deliberate living because every action originates from where focus is directed. Time management is a practical tool for alignment. Every minute is an investment. Conscious scheduling, task allocation, and elimination of low-value activities create space for what truly matters. Treat time as the most valuable asset because it cannot be replaced or recovered. Deliberate use of time transforms intentions into tangible outcomes, allowing life to reflect priorities rather than default patterns. Every hour spent intentionally builds independence, mastery, and satisfaction. Self-reflection reinforces alignment. Regularly review decisions, habits, and outcomes. Identify areas where actions have drifted from priorities, wasted energy, or served temporary gratification. Reflection is a mechanism for course correction. It ensures that life remains on track, that small misalignments are addressed promptly, and that deliberate choices continue to shape outcomes over time. Without reflection, life drifts, and intentions fade into reactive behavior. Goal setting drives deliberate action. Define specific, measurable, and achievable objectives that reflect values and priorities. Goals provide direction, motivation, and clarity for decision-making. Every choice can be evaluated against these objectives. Deliberate living requires knowing where you are going, so that actions naturally align with desired outcomes. Goals transform abstract values into concrete decisions, ensuring that every effort contributes to meaningful progress. Investing in self-growth supports alignment. Reading, learning, and skill development increase capacity to act deliberately. A stronger mind, broader knowledge, and refined abilities expand options and reduce dependence on external validation or circumstance. Continuous growth enhances judgment, decision-making, and resilience. Deliberate living is easier when you are prepared, capable, and empowered to make choices that truly serve your future. Boundaries protect intentionality. Life is full of demands, distractions, and conflicting priorities. Setting clear boundaries with people, commitments, and environments ensures that energy remains focused on what matters. Boundaries prevent overextension, reduce stress, and preserve autonomy. Living deliberately requires defining limits and protecting them rigorously, so that priorities are not compromised by external pressure. Aligning decisions with values reduces regret. Most dissatisfaction comes from acting against principles or ignoring what matters in pursuit of approval, convenience, or comfort. Every action aligned with core values reinforces integrity, confidence, and satisfaction. Living deliberately is about choosing long-term fulfillment over immediate gratification. Alignment ensures that choices produce outcomes that are not only successful, but also meaningful and authentic. Flexibility is part of deliberate living. Life presents unexpected changes, challenges, and opportunities. Deliberate action does not mean rigidity. It means responding intentionally to shifting circumstances while maintaining alignment with priorities. Flexibility allows adaptation without abandoning values or goals. It ensures that choices remain purposeful, even in dynamic environments. Emotional regulation strengthens decision-making. Impulses, fear or desire can hijack choices. Learning to manage emotions ensures that actions are guided by intention rather than reaction. Calm, measured responses increase the likelihood that decisions support long-term priorities. Emotional awareness allows for deliberate behavior even under stress, pressure, or uncertainty. Leverage resources strategically. Money, time, skills, and relationships are powerful tools when used intentionally. Deliberate living involves allocating these resources toward activities that reinforce priorities and create meaningful outcomes. Misallocation dissipates potential, while strategic application produces exponential impact. Every resource should be evaluated for its contribution to what truly matters. Avoid comparison with other external metrics, social expectations, and peer pressure often distract from personal priorities. Deliberate living requires evaluating choices based on internal values rather than external approval. When decisions are guided by personal principles, energy is preserved, focus is reinforced, and life becomes authentic rather than performative. Comparison shifts energy from meaningful action to superficial evaluation, reducing deliberate impact. Simplify decisions to maintain clarity. Overcomplicated choices consume energy and create confusion. Establish routines, decision frameworks, and criteria that reduce mental load. The less energy spent on trivial decisions, the more available for intentional, high-value action. Simplicity enhances focus, consistency, and the ability to live deliberately without being overwhelmed by trivial concerns. Contribution and purpose guide priorities. Aligning actions with the impact you want to create reinforces deliberate living. Consider how decisions affect others, long-term outcomes, and the legacy you are building. Purpose-driven choices create fulfillment beyond immediate gratification and provide clarity in moments of uncertainty. Deliberate living is not only self-serving, it is guided by meaningful impact. Focus on present actions with future outcomes in mind. Deliberate living balances awareness of current decisions with understanding of long-term consequences. Every choice has ripple effects. Conscious consideration ensures that actions today reinforce goals, values, and priority. Acting without foresight creates drift and undermines intentionality, while deliberate consideration strengthens control over life trajectory. Accountability supports alignment. Track progress, review decisions, and seek feedback from trusted individuals. Accountability increases self-awareness, reinforces commitment, and provides perspective. It ensures that deliberate actions are maintained consistently and deviations are identified early. Structured accountability strengthens the ability to live intentionally over the long term. Celebrate progress intentionally. Acknowledge when decisions, habits, or routines align with priorities and values. Recognition reinforces deliberate behavior, motivates consistency, and strengthens confidence. Even small steps taken with intention compound into substantial life change over time. Celebrating aligned action creates momentum and encourages sustained focus on what truly matters. Freedom emerges from deliberate living. Each intentional choice builds autonomy, control, and independence. By aligning daily actions with priorities, you reduce reliance on external validation, avoid unnecessary stress, and cultivate a life that reflects your values.
Freedom is the natural result of repeated, conscious, and deliberate decision. It is not granted by circumstance. It is created by the disciplined alignment of choices with what matters. Living deliberately is both an art and a practice. It requires continuous attention, reflection, and commitment. Each day provides opportunities to act intentionally, redirect energy toward priorities, and reject distractions. By consistently aligning choices with core values, life becomes meaningful, manageable, and fulfilling. The trajectory of your life is no longer left to chance. It is shaped by conscious, purposeful action. Focus on what matters most. Align decisions with values. Prioritize consistently. Reject distractions. Protect time and energy. Reflect daily. Act intentionally. Preserve autonomy. Build habits that reinforce purpose. Each choice compounds into a life defined by clarity, freedom, and fulfillment. Living deliberately transforms existence from reactive drift into intentional mastery.